back to another video where I break down a video that I made and tell you all the behind the scenes stuff and what I'm thinking through as I'm making the video. The organization that this video is for is called Dwell Uganda. The executive director, Lori, is a really close friend of mine, and I love getting to make videos for Dwell. They build houses specifically in this one, it's a really big neighborhood, but just one neighborhood right now. The houses in that neighborhood are old, I think government provided housing that's all falling apart, asbestos roofs, cracks in all the foundations, so lots of problems. A lot of people can't afford to make the renovations, but they also can't afford to move anywhere. And so Dwell has come in and partnered with this community. Let's jump in.
This new house is giving me a new vision in my head.
Now there's hope. I can see that God is taking me somewhere. I can see where I'm going.
I shot all of these interviews basically the same way that I will typically go about shooting a nonprofit interview. So I have two cameras, an A camera, that's the one that we're looking at here, straight on with the subject, and a little bit of a wider frame. And then I'll have a B camera that's on the side and typically punched in a lot more. I've heard people say that they like their B camera to be double the focal length of their A camera, and there's always rules for everything, and then you can break the rules, but that's pretty much the system I like to go with. So a lot of times for interviews like this, I'll shoot 35 millimeters on the A camera and then 70 on the B camera, and sometimes I'll vary things depending on the situation, how much room we have. Shooting outdoors typically will give you more room to play with that kind of stuff. Something with these interviews that I was really excited about was actually in post-production. You can see on the edges of these interview frames, you can just see a bit of a swirl to the blur. You can really see it in the leaves here, on the ground here towards the edges. That is just in post-production, a creative decision that I made that I thought fit with the theme of the video and the vibe of the video, that things felt really disorienting and really unpleasant for these people before this huge life change happened. And so I was just playing around with effects and threw that on there and was really happy with the way it looked and ended up keeping it. I think it's subtle enough if you're not looking for it and you don't know too much about cameras and video editing and stuff, you may not notice it. That was a fun little detail for me to add in there that I was pretty happy with the way it turned out.
I was born here in 1980. The house was almost, let me say.
With any nonprofit work where the speaker has an accent, even if their English is really good, I have to put myself in the mind of a potential donor or somebody who's going to be watching this video, that me as the video guy, I've spent time in this community or in this environment and gotten used to some of the accents, but some people may have a harder time picking up on specific words. And so to play that safe, I always check with the organization that's hired me, but in general, I almost always go with subtitles. And that's just a way to really ensure that the story that's being told, none of the details are getting missed by the person who's ending up watching the video. Some of the lighting situations that we had for this video, it really was hard to see the white text. And so I played around with drop shadow and some different things, and we ended up with this black background for the captions. It's not my favorite captions look that I've ever done, but you have to go with what works for each scenario. And so typically I'll have the captions look a lot more like the way that his title looks over here, of just plain white text, if I can get away with it.
As it was made of the asbestos, you cannot even take water from the roof. The condition was not good.
We used to struggle Before we changed it was sometimes every day my mom has to make that repair, because if it rains, the rain comes, it is terrible.
Shooting outdoors, you always have to be mindful of the sun and where it is. And I would say not my best job on this specific interview, positioning her where the sun was moving and we had brighter spots on her face and then darker spots, and it all moved as time went on through the 30 minutes or so that we interviewed her. If I was doing this today, I would definitely situate her in a way where there's not direct sunlight on her face. She can still be well lit, but having a bit more control over the subject lighting would definitely be a higher priority for me. I do like the choice of the background, especially getting to show that they've taken this home that was given to them and they've worked to make it beautiful. There's flowers and things like that. So a tip for these storytelling type of videos for nonprofits, or really for any type of storytelling video, would be to do the interview first and then shoot the B-roll second. The reason for that is that the interview can inspire the B-roll. If they mention something specific like a location or an item or something like that, then that allows for a target that you can get that kind of B-roll. It will help show the story more than just telling the story. So I always shoot B-roll after, if I can, if the lighting allows and all that stuff. I always shoot B-roll after the interview.
They helped me, that very helped me. I'm now in a very lovely house where I'm happy, I'm glad. I think these houses brought love.
Sometimes people will say lines in an interview and you already know that's going to make the final video. Like, doesn't matter what else I have to do, that line is going to make it in. I was so happy when I heard her say that.
Because the environment itself is now good.
I'm happy, very happy. Really, you have changed our life.
For some behind the scenes info, when we were filming this interview, a huge bird, I guess, was in the tree above me and pooped on my tripod. And it was all over. I took a picture. I remember, I think I put it on my story, and then I was like, oh, I don't know, that might be too much for people, but it's true. It's a reality of the job sometimes.
We are proud of you, bro. We are proud of you. You did great things to us.
Thank you. Thank you. May the good Lord bless you.
Something that's important to point out with a video like this is that you want to take the typical story structure and then be creative around it. So that structure is that there's a main character who has a problem and then meets a guide who gives them a plan and then calls them to action. And then that action either results in success or failure, right? And so that any storyteller, any person doing video, any person doing nonprofit work absolutely needs to know that structure for telling a story, but then needs to be creative around it. So with a video like this, I took the first little section and sprinkled in some little quotes that hinted at what was coming. But then I came back to my story structure. I introduced the characters. We have their names and titles coming up on the screen. They're also telling us about themselves and the problem that they were experiencing. Then for the purpose of this interview style, they are the ones introducing into the story the guide, which is Dwell, the nonprofit organization that gave them a plan for what to do about the problem that they were experiencing. And then obviously the culmination or final product of the video is that it resulted in success. So we make the last quarter of the video everybody sharing that success, and we'll match it with uplifting music and everybody smiling. And for the person who's watching this video, that provides closure to the whole story arc, that they got to know this character and empathized with the situation they were in, and then found a route to hope, and then were actually able to get there. So that structure is always at the heart of any storytelling video. There's always going to be creative choices and variations in how the story plays out, and some have more success or more failure or more ups and downs, but that's the at its most basic structure of any story. I want to know, is there anything about this video that you saw that you would have done differently? Let me know that in the comments.